Welcome to another episode of the Progress Always podcast, where we're here to build the fittest leaders through integrity, courage, and ownership. Shout out to the Post for connecting my man Brett Stern with me today, founder of Lord Daniel Sportswear let me back up, founder of One Thrive and co-owner of Lord Daniel Sportswear. Let me make sure I introduce you correctly.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Your journey is really interesting. Coming from a family of entrepreneurs and building One Thrive beyond Lord Daniel, you're kind of getting into it before the start of the show with regards to the infrastructure, accountability, that is the scaffolding of your greatness, your discipline, the things that help you execute as an athlete. We also see this in the veteran community. When that disappears, when we take off the uniform, whichever uniform we're wearing, and we get out in the real world, or to the connection that I just made in our download prior to, when you leave corporate to start your own thing, to take the leap into entrepreneurship, there's a lot of that same scaffolding that exists as a W-2 before you go out on your own. I'm so curious, as somebody who is a former collegiate athlete, tennis, and turned entrepreneur, family business, and beyond, do you see that same theme, that same through line in terms of the challenges we face beyond sport, beyond service, as we interact with the real world?
Yes. I mean, sure. I think there's no question about it. I mean, I've been in the real world, or whatever you want to call it, for over 30 years now. So I've learned over time, but certainly when I first got out of school, I went to school to play tennis, not to go to school. That was it. I thought I was being number one in the world. And when I was done, you really lose your purpose. Like, if your goal is to be the best in the world at something, and then it just ends, no matter how great you were, it's very, very hard. The structure and discipline of waking up every morning, and this is your practice. This is what's going to happen. And then I went into a family business that has been around for 71 years, thinking this is going to be the greatest thing. It's going to be so easy. And I walked in and nobody really told me what to do. And it was just like, okay, I don't know what to do, I'm out of school. I'm not, I'm smart, but I don't know this business. I kind of sat there and listened to my dad get on the phones and call JCPenney stores every day. And we're in the apparel space. So we were selling apparel. And I spent a lot of years really just trying to figure out what I was supposed to be doing, what was supposed to make me happy, what my goals were. My goal was initially like, let me just please my dad. I don't know. I just want to, make a lot of money and figure it out. And it's kind of come a little bit full circle for me, where I've realized that the skills that I learned as a tennis player, as an athlete, are such a huge benefit to me as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. When I first started, I really thought there were two separate things. Like, I played tennis. Okay, tennis is over. Now I got to go learn business. And it's like, no, I learned all these amazing skills as a tennis player. And how do you put them into the real world? And how do you figure out for yourself how to enjoy I love playing tennis, right? I love practicing. I love sweating. I love competing. And it's just like, I think no matter what I do in my career, nothing is ever going to make me as happy career-wise as when I was 16 years old, playing tennis in front of people. I've come to that realization, but I also recognize that the things that I enjoy are having conversations with people, talking to people, helping people, seeing myself succeed, figuring out ways that I can use those skills that made me successful at tennis in what we all as athletes call the real world is different. It's I think the real world in general is very hard. Like, there's no winning. I mean, there's winning, but it's not like you're keeping score and you're just trying to fight. And when I played tennis, it was like, train as hard as you can. I'll run through any wall. It doesn't matter. And like, okay, that doesn't really work all the time. You can work as hard as you want. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful. So
Well, let me back up really quick because your track and tennis is significantly different than football. There's only one way. I mean, there's avenues of approach, but there's really one like proven path to the NFL, and that's through the NCAA, right? In tennis, you're in a world that I feel is very similar to baseball in that phenoms can bypass that part and go straight to the show. So when you talk about your self-image, right? Coming out of high school, going to the University of Florida, wanting to be number one in the world, that other part being that you could be 16 and playing against Steffi Graf, and I'm just completely out of pocket right now. I don't know who the big Andre Agassi and all those cats. How do you, is that a leap that you're making? Like this is a stop along the way and I'm gonna get to the show. Like how do you navigate that path through the NCAA if you're not one of those like high school phenoms that's already at the dance?
Well, back in my day, right? So I went to boarding school for high school. I went to the Rick Macy Tennis Academy.
Okay. Is that also in Florida?
It is. I don't know if you saw, did you see the movie King Richard?
Yes.
So their coach was Rick Macy. I was his first live-in student.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And the guy who was, it was like me, this guy, Tommy Ho, and Jennifer Capriati. We played tennis every day.
I remember Capriati.
Yes.
Yep.
And Tommy Ho was my age. And at 16 years old, he actually did turn pro. He was the #1 junior in the world. He won the junior nationals. So for me and for most, we Agassi and Sampras, those guys were a little bit older than me, about 2 years older than me. But if you went to college, you failed. You were out. I mean, it was like, okay, I knew I wasn't gonna be #1 by the time I got to college. That was it. So when I played in college, I loved being a part of the team. It was no longer. It was just about like, hey, how do I win as a team?
Yeah.
How do I enjoy the process, because it wasn't a team sport. This is team in college. That was fun. So it was like. Yeah, now a lot of people go to college for a couple of years and continue to get better, and then they play longer. It was more people were out 25, 26, 27. Your career was over in tennis. And I think by the time I went to college, it was pretty clear to me I wasn't going to be #1.
Yeah.
So it was really just sort of enjoy and 4 years to try to figure out what I'm supposed to do after tennis.
Okay. So then after college, I love the awareness, or at least the reflection on the fact that I already know what happens after tennis is over. I'm coming into the family business. So I'm not here for school, right? I'm here to play sport. And I think a lot of people who don't have that backdrop also go to school with that mentality. And it's a trap, because now you're putting yourself at risk for not taking with you the opportunity that comes with that education. You're not taking advantage of all that it has to offer. And were you at that age taking full advantage at the University of Florida, or were you strictly there to play tennis and knowing that the family business, the X's and O's, you'll figure that all out later? Where were you at that point in your life?
I was, I didn't care about school at all. It meant, didn't mean anything. It's one of the biggest mistakes I made. I love learning, and I'm like mad at myself. Here's an opportunity to learn. I literally didn't even know. I didn't know you're supposed to go to school to learn. I just thought you're just, go play tennis, get your degree. I was fine. I figured out how to take whatever the easiest classes. And it was, okay, this is what you do, because I just wanted to be out. I did love still playing tennis. I was out there every morning. I'm playing, you're training. It's still fun. And like, okay.
And that was going to be my next question. Did you just end up with like whatever you qualified for credit wise as your degree, or?
I actually had a degree in economics, because I actually started out, my first years were at UC Irvine in California.
Oh, sure.
And that was the only business major they had. So when I transferred to Florida, they had, I had to just stay with economics, but it was fine. I mean, I'm making it like I studied enough. I got good grades. I did fine. It was just like, when I look back now, it's like, oh God, I would like to learn more. I would like to have known more about business. You know, everything I've learned now is just, oh, I listen to my dad, and he taught me a lot, and it's amazing. But like, there's so much to learn. There's so much to figure out, and it was just a wasted opportunity to enjoy the process of learning.
Yeah. So this is also very interesting to me. You come into the family business, and we've, so what are we in 25? So that was 30 years ago. So you guys have been in business 40-ish years at that point.
We have been. That's correct.
Yep.
Yes.
So we've been doing this for 4 decades.
Yeah.
Fall in line. There was no SOP. Doesn't sound like there was any a mentorship of any kind. Like, and this is really interesting because I have friends who, when we got done serving or we got done playing, also went into the family business, and they just kind of like, they're in real estate now or doing other things because they weren't patient enough to wait in line. And at the same time, there was no clear-cut succession plan. So they're kind of like on the payroll, but not really doing shit. You can cuss on this podcast, by the way. So like, what am I supposed to do? Like when it comes to my purpose and driving fulfillment, all those other things that we overlook when we're chasing prosperity and financial abundance, like, and just the elephant in the room is nepotism, right? So how do you manage all of that as the heir apparent to the family business?
I don't really have an exact answer. I can tell you how I did it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
From my perspective, I look back and I'm like, probably one of the biggest mistakes I made was going into the family business right out of school. Again, I could have learned a lot more by being in a job somewhere else and figuring stuff out. I was a little lazy. I just was like, oh, this is the easiest path. Okay, I'll figure it out. Lucky for me, my dad was a good salesperson. I was a good salesperson. If you're a good salesperson, it just kind of helps ease the path of what you're doing. And I think it takes a lot of effort. I was lucky that it was just me and my dad, and my grandfather was here too, and my grandmother. But it was like, they weren't really pushing, like that hard on me or whatever. They gave, they didn't teach me anything, but they gave me enough space. That's not true. They taught me stuff, but didn't, there wasn't a real plan, but gave me the space to sort of figure it out on my own. And I think I credit my tennis also. Like, it's the grittiness of like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out. Like, you don't have to tell me what to do. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. And that's what I was able to do without feeling like it felt like I had a little bit of a purpose, which was good. Not a lot. I didn't really understand what I was doing, but I was like, okay, I have something that presents a challenge to me, and I can keep trying to figure it out. I didn't really know where I was trying to get to, but I just knew I'm just going to wake up every day and just try to work hard, whatever that means.
Yeah. Oh man. And tennis is interesting, man, because to your point, it is a very individual sport in that you are genuinely responsible for your own success. I had a couple of high level female tennis players that I got to coach, and I told their parents very specifically, I'm not their tennis coach. I don't know how to drop serve. I don't know how to teach them a backhand, but I will make them better athletes. Their footwork will be top notch, all that kind of good stuff. And their change of direction, etc. But they were very unique in that their motivation was of all the kinds of athletes I've ever worked with in strength and conditioning. They were the most intrinsic. And I'm not saying there's the other individual sports aren't like that, but it was from a firsthand experience perspective. That was very interesting to me, how like they were always early, like annoying to their mom, how like driven they were to, I'd show up early for our appointment and they'd already be there, like with a good lather going, having hit some balls and and then we got straight into the work, and that was a characteristic that I saw in those girls that was very rare in like the football players that I'd work with.
That's interesting because I agree with you that I think there's a discipline about tennis that is,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's a discipline. All high performing athletes are either they're super talented or they're super disciplined, and if they're both, they're pretty much the best.
Yeah.
So and I think in tennis you have to be smart. There's a little bit of chess, there's a little bit of thinking, there's a little bit of gamesmanship. You're just everything you're doing is to try to figure out ways to outmaneuver the other person who's on the other side. I mean, it's like golf, you're playing the course. Football, if you let down, one of your teammates can pick you back up again. It's just, you have a bad day, you're gonna lose unless you just sort of figure it out. And that really teaches you, I think, discipline. But there's a lot of guys who I trained with who they could have trained harder. They could have been better. They could have, it's not everyone. It could be just, that's the way I was. I was like, I'll train, I'll do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. But there was plenty of guys who had a huge serve and were just super talented and just didn't need to work that hard. They didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On your ascension out of boarding school into college, and knowing that you're not there to go to school, how does, and don't get me wrong, like I understand that you got good grades and all that kind of good stuff, but what is the driving factor to keep you eligible? Because I watch a lot of my teammates mess that up. I'm only here to play ball. Well, there's a huge component of this experience, at least back then anyway, before it was pay to play NIL, wild west. Like, dude, you got to be here. You got to do the bare minimum to stay eligible to keep you in the game. So how did you reconcile that part of it so that you could focus on the thing that you love?
I think that it was a natural, like I was getting my degree. It didn't there was no question about I was going to get a degree. So
was that a prerequisite for you to come into the family business?
Yeah, not really, but it wasn't in my mind. Like I was definitely going to get a degree. So it really, that wasn't an issue for me. Like I made sure that I was taking classes that I could take, that I could get good grades in, whatever, things that I had to take, I would take. It just, it was fine. It just wasn't, I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't learning anything, so amazing. It was just like, okay, just do what you got to do. So it wasn't, lucky for me, that wasn't a challenge.
I got you. Okay, cool. So, you come into Lord Daniel, you're figuring your way through it. Where does One Thrive come into the picture?
So about 8 years ago, we rented some space in our warehouse to a home decor company. And I became I was really lucky, actually. They came in here, I became friendly with the owners of the company. They were entrepreneurs also. And it just gave me a different perspective. And so I got to know these guys, became friendly with them. We decided to create another business together. We weren't sure what it was going to be. We hired somebody, we put some money in. That person came in, and that's when like Marie Kondo was popular, about organization. And we said, there's not really anything out there where people are putting on their walls like a cork board, a whiteboard, but it looks really ugly. There's nothing that's both fashionable and functional. And so that was the thesis. We launched like literally right when the pandemic hit, and it was like, boom, it took off. We were lucky that my partners are in the home decor space, so they knew how to make all of this product. And we both did importing. I imported clothing, they imported home decor.
Yep.
And so it just took off, and we've really been, trying to figure it out ever since, trying to figure out different verticals, whether it's, we have a lot of families who come to us with children who have ADHD or autism who love our system. It's really about discipline. It's about, teaching kids how to set their schedule and how to be consistent. And our system is purposefully analog, which means there's no digital part of it. And so we did a study, and if you use more than 1 sense to do something, you're 34% more likely to remember it. So if you write down, you can see behind me, it's like a meal plan. I didn't write it, but the meal plan, I have that thing there. It says, don't quit. I have different, it's like It can be a motivational board. It can be a workout board. It can be, entrepreneur. You can use it to run your business. It's all, but you write it down, and all of those pieces come off. You take them off. You write here. You don't have to write them. Then you hang it back up and you do it. And the idea was for it to look nice on your wall.
Yeah.
Because, you can decorate around it. We have, different monthly items that we come up with, different colored markers. It's, how do you make something look fun and nice on the wall with trying to keep you disciplined and organized? So it really is intended for that. You're talking about the girls who you were training, the ones who want to be focused, the moms who are trying to, it's so chaotic out there. How do I keep track of what I'm trying to do? You're a coach. You say to you, all right, you're going to do, every night I want you to do whatever, right? Okay. You got to write it down. Boom. It's there. It's about training people to be disciplined. And it's about doing it in a way that somebody doesn't look at their wall and go, it looks disgusting. Like it's those two things together. So,
yeah. Well, we definitely need to do something together, because when the foundation of all of our work with our clients, we take them through an alignment assessment. And on the back end of that assessment is their best self statement. And the exercise that they move forward, the first thing that they do in their engagement with us is print out their best self statement and put it in plain sight, wherever that is. And that becomes their mantra, their North Star, that they check all opportunities, relationships, etc., against that best self statement, so that they're able to discern whether or not those things are in alignment with their highest and best self or not. And, because as you know, and I know, that whatever the goal is, that will manifest as a result of opportunities and relationships, etc. It doesn't always look the way that you thought it would, and if you don't understand or have the way,
it never does.
Right.
No, it doesn't always never.
Yeah.
Like that's what and I know I fell into this trap too. You think it's just like, oh, I'm going to work really hard. It's going to be a straight line and I'm going to be a billionaire, right? Like, of course that's what's going to happen. And then you're like, oh, and then you just like, people tell you like, oh, you're supposed to enjoy the journey. Like, okay, but like, yeah, but I still want to win. Like, I don't even know, like it's all,
Yeah. So if you don't know, like in sport, again, going back to the scaffolding that supports your greatness, that is coach, team, accountability, structure, timelines, etc., all of that stuff. The North Stars championship, like there's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be wins and losses. We're going to have to pivot. You might be second string one day. You'll be the starter the next, all of that stuff happens along the way, but we all know where we're going. And most people, the vast majority in the work that we do, are flying blind when it comes to like, what's an alignment? Like, yes, the numbers pencil, like economically speaking, financially speaking, there's like nothing but upside, and that works. However, is that the opportunity for you?
It's fair. No,
you can't answer that question if you don't know what alignment looks like.
Yeah. Yep.
Like from an organizational culture perspective, like, oh yeah, I could totally do that job, but do I want to do it on this team?
Right.
Will I be fulfilled? Will I thrive in this role in this particular organization as opposed to another one? One Thrive and Next Level need some of the same components. However, how we drive those components are totally different, because the way that I lead, my strengths and weaknesses are different than Brett's. Right. And it's really interesting. And as we deal with entrepreneurs and associate with entrepreneurs, the X's and O's of business are the same. I don't know what team you're in with the Post in Team 27. We talk about a lot of the same headaches and overcoming a lot of the same challenges. However, the way that we do that to a person is so different based on temperament, personality, culture, and all those other X factors. And all of those things become so much easier to manage and move towards or away from when you understand what's in alignment for you.
I couldn't agree more. You know, you're either like just floating around trying to figure it out, or you're going in a direction, you know, and that's I think that's what a lot of people, you know, struggle with, especially you talk about as an athlete, like you clearly have a direction, right?
Yep.
Every day you wake up, I'm trying to win the national championship. I'm trying to become a better tennis player. This is what I'm trying to do. And you don't need to write down that goal because you know it. It's so easy, right? But when you come out, you're like, okay, okay, I'm supposed to be a good family person. Okay, I'm supposed to be a good business person. Okay, well, what does that mean, right? So you're like, okay, it takes the earlier in life that you can jump on that and sort of have that that understanding of what that is going to be so much easier, because it took me a long time to go, I get it a lot more now. My goal is to sort of have fun every day and try to talk to as many people and try to help people. And like, you know, I'm sure for you, it's very gratifying to see somebody succeed and try to help them and push them and be a teacher to a degree. And I think that the other thing too, is you learn over time, is that you can't do everything yourself. And that's a really hard thing as a tennis player, as an athlete, or maybe it's just my personality. It's like, okay, I can figure that out. I can, you know, give me a little bit of time and I'll figure it out. And maybe I can, but that's not efficient use of your time. And it's not, you know, and at the, you know, there becomes a point where it's diminishing returns, where you're not, you know, you're not doing as well as you could because you're not entrusting the right people with the, you know, with what needs to be done. So,
So where did you, there's obviously the business, the chemistry and the business opportunity behind One Thrive and all that you've done there. But I feel like behind every entrepreneur's journey, there's a piece of them, of what they build, that solves a problem for themselves, right? Is what is that in One Thrive that is a piece of bread?
For me, it's the challenge to try to make something succeed, right? So it's like, I like the idea of trying to help people. Okay, so here I have a product that can help people make their life less chaotic and can help people reach their goals, whether it's saving money or exercise or all those things. So I have a platform for that. I get to talk to moms who are living their life and trying to figure out, you know, their schedules. I get to talk to people like you who are like, you know, it's that's what I get out of it is, and trying to be successful. I'm trying to make a business successful. That's fun for me. What can I do? How many people can I talk to? Who can I get on the phone with that's going to help me? And you know, rather than, you know, a lot of businesses that are direct to consumer, they're spending money on Google, they're spending money on Facebook. That's how people are recognizing them. I don't like to give them, like, to me, it's just a, you know, like a loss. You have to get so much business to be able to get over that hump to make that worthwhile. Although we do use those channels, I like kind of going under the radar. And it's like, I talk to a lot of mom summits. I talk to, you know, people in the ADHD community. I'm trying to like go outside the box and then kind of build it from the ground up. And it's very challenging, you know, but I like the challenge, not every day. And I'm awfully lucky because this is sort of not as a hobby, it's a business, but it's a second business for me. You know, I have an apparel business that we do very well. And I, you know, it's fine. So I'm lucky or unlucky that, you know, if this business is successful or not, that's not what is going to put food on the table for me. Right. So it's a little, and even when I came into a family business, I didn't have that. It's an interesting sort of thing. Like, I don't know if I call myself an entrepreneur. I am, but like, to me, an entrepreneur is somebody who started from scratch, didn't have anything and figured it out, you know, and maybe that's my own thing, but that is the way I think of it. So it's in part of maybe One Thrive is to prove legitimacy. I am smart. I can't figure it out. I don't need somebody, you know, whatever. It's all, who
there
knows?
It is.
Yeah.
No. Dude, first of all, I appreciate the vulnerability and transparency there. Not many in your situation, I've talked to a handful, have that level of humility. You know, like I came into the one and I'm building the other. So first and foremost, I want to invite you to give yourself some grace, because you're doing the damn thing. Like, you are earning the term entrepreneur.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yes. And let's take it back to the beginning of this conversation. How did Brett manage to rebuild that scaffolding that supported your greatness and athletic achievement? How did you rebuild that once that was gone? Because it doesn't sound like you even had that when you came in to Lord Daniel, So what is it that you took upon yourself to, aside from like, the buzzwords of grit and determination, like, how'd you rebuild it, man?
It took a long time as a want to figure it out. It's a fight. It was like, I've been in therapy. I talk to people. I pull stuff from different people. I talk to people like yours. Every day I'm learning. I read. I'm trying. Something's not exactly right. I know it. I can't quite figure it out. And it's been a constant sort of battle to recognize. It's about what makes me happy at the end of the day. Like, how do I fight for that every day?
Yeah.
I like to tell people that takes as much work as training for tennis or making your business good. You have to take care of yourself. You have to it's all things that you don't think matter.
Mm-hmm.
They take effort. Everything takes work, and you can not work on it, and maybe you're not going to be as happy as you want. And you're going to wonder why am I not? Well, you got to really think about it. You got to do the work. You got to go I see a therapist, you talk to him, and I used to think okay, you walk out, I'm going to be fixed, right? I don't know what fixed is, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
Happen,
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I realized, oh, no, they don't nobody's fixed. You fix yourself. You go and you just try to figure it out, and you try to learn something from every person. And that's the best you can do. And that's all you can ask of yourself. And it's again, when you look at sport, you can win, you can work hard, and you can get better. Mm-hmm. Life is so intangible that it's very weird to you're just okay, I'm supposed to just talk to people every day and that's going to make me happy. Just talk. I'm not talking about therapy, I'm talking just people in general.
Yeah.
And I'll be oh yeah, that does make me happy. Okay, I guess I'll just keep doing that because that's what, so it's very hard. It takes work. Just like your whatever, no matter what it is in your life, you want it to be successful. You have to figure out, what work you have to put in.
Yeah. And there's layers to it. So for example, I don't know where you're at with psychedelics and plant medicine and in your journey. And we can get into that if you want. But I know in my first psilocybin experience, a guided facilitated mushroom experience, my dad passed in 2007.
Sorry.
That's okay. And it was a long while, intermittently at best, where I got to sit with self and experience the grieving process and missing him and all that good stuff. And then I come into this experience and it was whoosh, this, by the time it was over and done with, I was like, man, I feel so much lighter. I got to, what felt like hours with him in this experience to say all the things that needed to be said. And it was beautiful. And I was like, I am healed in my daddy issues. Right. And a couple of years go by and I have another psilocybin experience. And the layer that I was at this point was, now I'm a dad. I'm a husband. My dad wasn't around for his grandkids and he didn't get to see me get married. And in this experience, I was now open enough to express all the anger behind that, right? That I did not know existed within me.
Right.
Right. So to your point about I'm going to go have this therapeutic experience and I'm going to be fixed. It's no, at best, the best you could hope for is to just deal with a layer.
Right.
Right. And then, if we want to call it therapy, psychedelics, it's your own intrinsic work self-development experience, whatever the modality is, somatics, etc. You're working through the layers.
You never stop working. What you're saying to it, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, it doesn't matter, right? Like I have this system behind me. Like some people, it's just boards and a pen, but some people can take it and make a huge difference in their life. And some people, it's going to take something else. It doesn't. I tell people too. It's like I'll see people writing notes, that I'm giving them, and like you can put that in a computer, and like it's so much more efficient and whatever. And like then you're like, oh, it's whatever works for you. What do I care? Like it doesn't matter to me. Like you just need to be as efficient as you can be. So if you recognize like, okay, great, that helps you, then more power to you. Awesome.
Yeah. And I also think that's it sounds like you're pretty open to the nuance of this experience, right? I'm going to try this and see how it works for me so that I can have my own experience to draw from. It sounds like you really embrace the concept of N of one. Like I know what all the gurus say, but I need to see if that works for Brett.
To a certain degree, right? Like I don't know if I would do psilocybin. I don't, like it's like for me, yes, to agree. It's like okay, yeah, I guess, but it's still, there's, but yes, to a degree, I would say I try to be that way. I think that's part of facing your fears and trying to push yourself. So again, I mean, everybody has their own degrees of where they can push yourself.
Yeah. So where does the desire for your own self-exploration come from, whether it's therapy or otherwise?
I don't have an answer for you. You would ask yourself, why did you become an amazing football player? Like where did that desire come from to train every day and to fight and to want to be great? I don't know. I had, I want to, and I've always like wanted to explore life and people and sort of like understand more. And so, but I don't really know where it came from.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question. In your mind's eye, as a high achiever and the builder of something great that didn't exist prior to your participation, do you feel like there's a difference between contentment and complacency?
Yeah, I think, I mean, they're sort of two edges of the same sword. But I think contentment feels more peaceful to me, and complacency feels more lazy. So, I try not to be too content, but then I try to be content because you can be a little too hard on yourself unless you're content. I don't really want to be complacent. To me, that's like if I'm complacent, I don't care. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but if I'm content, I'm sort of proud of myself. Like, okay, you're content here, and I can be content in a spot, and I can keep moving forward. If I'm complacent, I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess this is where I'm stuck.
And the reason I ask is because I feel like the way we use those words, we use them synonymously, but in a negative way, from the perspective of when you've been constantly moving the goalpost, whether it's to get from one level to the next, to get, from a conference championship to a state championship. Okay, we hit 500,000 in production. Now we're shooting for that million. When you're constantly moving the goalpost and never spending any time integrating where you are, we then confuse being content with being complacent. Like, oh, there's something wrong with me if I'm happy here. Right. And we conflate that idea with if you're not growing, you're dying. Right. And two things can be true at the same time. There's the desire for growth, but growth where? I've achieved X, which affords me the opportunity to spend more time somewhere else for it to catch up. And I think it's very easy to get locked into, we are the those four things in next level speak: health, wealth, relationships, and time. I've optimized my health so that I can, increase my production in wealth and financial abundance. But we don't want to concede or stabilize that, the big one, so that so we can pour into these other buckets. So how do you go about managing those things?
It kind of goes back to what I said before. It's practice. It's like some days it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to be pouring too much energy into one bucket. Like we were talking about contentment. Like I want to be more content. I want to be happier, right? That doesn't come naturally to me. I'm the guy, I'm never going to be happy. I'm never proud of myself, whatever. Like you got to be like, okay, this is not the way I want to be. So I have to I have to pretend like, even if it's you're faking it, like, all right, I am happy. Okay. You have to practice. You have to work hard. It's like you fake it till you make it. And then eventually it's true. And you think like that's only for success, but it's for anything. It's to be like, okay, if you want to have less stress, then you got to work at it. If you want to have, it just, nothing is going to come naturally to you. I like to say, like when I played tennis, I loved hitting forehands. I loved the inside out forehand. I could rip it. But my backhand was just okay, right? But I'm like practicing my backhand because that wasn't fun, right? Yeah. So I just practiced my forehand and I hit more forehands and like, okay, my forehand got better, my back, and like you have to like make yourself uncomfortable in practicing. You're like, wait, you're going to tell me that telling yourself you're proud of yourself or whatever is like, that takes, for some people it does.
Gratitude can be really hard for people.
It's hard for people. And so you're like, but it doesn't make sense to me. It probably, like, you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you work as hard as you can and try to make as much money as you can. And like, that's it. And you're like, oh no, that's not everything. Like family is super important. And like being home with my wife and my kids and like, dude, these things are like, that, at least for me, it's like, you have to really, make the time to, if those things are important to you, you have to make the time.
Yeah. Well, and that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. Do you derive, or was there was there a time when you didn't derive the same level of gratification in your experience at home as a husband and a father as anything that you've achieved in your professional life?
I think it's always a challenge for me. It's the same thing. Like I love my family. I go home. I am so proud of my family and whatever. Yeah. But then I come to work, I'm trying to achieve. So I'm like, you're beating yourself down here. You're beating, and you're always fighting to do it. And I take tremendous pride in my family and how amazing they are and whatever. But it's different than, again, playing sports where you get like, okay, did you succeed? Yeah, my kids are in college and they're doing great. And, I have a great marriage. Like, yeah, I guess I succeeded. It's kind of like, hey, I'll give you another example. Like a lot of moms out there, right? They work and then they stop working when they have kids, right? And then they're just kind of like, okay, you're just a mom. And like, do you know how hard work it is to be a mother, and like how much effort it is to like, my kids are the kids they are because my wife took care of them and made sure that everything was great. And, it would definitely they wouldn't be who they are without her. Right. But people are just like, oh, you're a mom. Like, okay, that's come so easy and it doesn't matter. And it's like, things like that frustrated me. Or you get athletes. So the same way athletes, they finish college or NFL, let's say an NFL athlete finishes and like, oh, I feel so bad for you. You made $50 million. And the guy is like depressed or whatever, because he has nothing. And you're like, no, like there are people too. Like, it's just like, I think we have the wrong, people just think, I guess it's that if you have money or you have a good, like, it's just automatic, and it's not.
Expand on the professional mom thing. It sounds like there's, you have a deep experience with that narrative, and I'm genuinely and selfishly curious as to your perspective. And granted, we're both men, so we'll never really know. But my wife and I just recently made this transition so that she could focus on home and the kids. And dude, I'll have my hardest fucking day out here in the world, and I'll come home and I'll watch, what she's dealing with at the table with homework and stuff like that. And I was like, there's nothing for me to bitch about,
No,
So I'm curious, it sounds like you have, a lot of experience, a decent amount of experience in your own personal, and based on what you're doing with One Thrive,
that's
like
right.
this is, yeah, talk to me, man.
I speak to a lot of moms, right? A lot, who once they stop working and they have their family, either the family becomes the main purpose that they have. And then once those kids go off to college, okay, what am I supposed to do now is one part of it. And the other piece is, if you're just dealing with your kids, you also lose a little bit of your purpose. Like I think I would encourage moms out there to stay a little bit in the workforce if they can, doing something. One of the things at One Thrive we have tried to do is hire moms who they can work part-time, they can work full-time, however much they want, because first of all, they're our audience, right? Who's going to sell better? Who's going to sell more authentic than somebody who's already in it? And then give them the most time and space that they need. So, okay, you want to work from home and you want to be with your kids. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be as flexible as possible, because one, there's a ton of talent out there, right? I'm sure your wife is extremely smart. She was in business. She was doing, I don't know, but there's so many of these moms out there. And with each year that goes by that you don't do something, you sort of lose, you go further and further away. It's like if I told you to go play football right now, you'd be like, okay, you're in good shape and whatever, but like you couldn't do it. So each year you go by, you forget what the workforce is like. You're around other moms. You're not feeling, you need to be well-rounded. And I think that causes a problem. And so it is something at One Thrive that I try to bring in, because I see it so much in all the moms. A lot of the moms are, they're so stressed out. They're using a system to try to keep them together. And ironically, if you have a part-time job, or if you're doing charity work or something that is getting you out of the house and out there, it actually makes you feel better. It's like it doesn't logically make sense, but a lot of things in life don't. So I encourage, and I see it. I encourage all those moms out there to try to stay, somewhat engaged in something, because that will, hopefully over time. And then when your kids go to college, you can dig in deeper or not. And I mean, not everybody's like that too. Some people, they love it so much and they enjoy it, and that's what it is. But my experience with a lot of the Mom Summit that I've dealt with is they benefit from still having something to do.
And what I'm not hearing is, by virtue of having something to do, not, what I'm not hearing is exclusively like the sewing circle of,
right. No. I mean, you can't, first of all, I don't want to say like, no, if that fulfills you, and that makes you happy, like I'm not being insulting. I'm just saying, like, okay, that's fine. Some people, it's just being around other people that makes them happy, right? I no question. I don't care. But like, if you were like an executive in business, I don't know if that's not. Then you need to figure out whatever that thing is, right? If it's playing tennis, if it's doing whatever, but you have to work at it. You got to fight. It's not just about, hey, I have to be with my kids 24/7. You got to take care of yourself too.
Absolutely. It's funny. My wife and I, we literally just had that discussion yesterday. She swung the pendulum really far in terms of how she's going to max herself out in her capacity as mom and wife, and keeping the household. And the unintended consequence of swinging it that far was like, oh shit, like, yes, there's always something to be done, but what am I doing for me? Right. And the trap that we as in business also fall into is, I'm going to wait till the end of the day and see where I fit in. Also, like, that same dynamic shows up in motherhood as well, which was fascinating to explore with her. It's like, no, like, okay, it's okay to cut that part out of the day that is just for you to do with what you want. And give yourself some grace. Just like for us, that are driving these missions and building these companies. And it's like, oh, wait, I should probably go work out right now. Oh, wait, shit. Like maybe I should stop and eat something.
Yeah. It's
like
she's on a mission, just like you're on a mission to business succeed. She's on a mission also. So you're right. And like you're a coach, like sometimes you forget, like, oh, I got to take care of my wife. Like I got to cook. Yeah. Like, it's like I see these things. It's all the same. It's all like we're all trying to search for this purpose and fight for what it is. So, one, she has to respect it as like, this is a real thing. It's not just like, you're not just a mom and like, this is a job and nobody respects it. Like respect yourself as like, that is a job and that is what you're doing. And that is amazing. You might not be getting paid for it, or you're getting paid. Like you have to have pride in yourself, just like we all have to, feel good about ourselves. And then, yes, you have to take care of yourself. And you have to be okay taking care of yourself. Like whatever, I don't know the answer. I don't know what that is. I just know that's how to be, healthy all the way around.
Dude, I think you're nailing it though. You have to make yourself a priority. And that it's so interesting to me, once we get that alignment assessment taken care of with our clients, the next step too is their time audit. Where do you fit in your schedule? And we make them go into their calendar and schedule an appointment with self, 1 hour a week to start, but during working hours. And they don't have to determine what they're going to do with it just yet, but they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Right. Anything from take a nap, go work out, go have something to eat, sit still, God forbid, and when we started implementing that, it is still crazy. And we do this with routine now. It is still crazy to me how far out in that calendar they have to go to make that happen.
Right.
But it brings awareness to this issue. Like, holy shit, no wonder everything I try to do in the realm of self-improvement or making life more efficient or easier isn't working because there's no room for me in my own existence. That's a problem. I don't give a shit how big the mission is, how much impact you're trying to have. The likelihood of it coming to fruition without a full tank, you're working against it. You're swimming against the tide. So, dude, I love what you've created with OneThrive, because just being able to see it on the wall and the fact that you can engage multiple senses in the process, dude, I buy into all of that, man.
So whoever's listening here, please buy into it also.
And shout out to the moms, honestly, like that is a full-time job. And I think it's been my experience in dealing with and serving professional moms. They don't give themselves enough credit for what they do.
They don't.
So from the male side of the house, just know, moms out there, working moms out there, stay-at-home moms out there, you are seen and you are appreciated.
I think that's very, very nice and kind, and the way it should be. It's it takes time and effort, and it's been one of the most rewarding things about this business that I've created is to be able to talk to these moms and be able to feel their pain and their perspective and come at it from a different way to say like, hey, no, this is, and there's like all these mom summits that I belong to that I'll talk at, like I'm not a mom, but like I understand, like I can help. So I love to try.
Here's a question for you. As an entrepreneur, a father, and a husband, what is your transition routine so that you're better able? And again, I love the fact that you embrace the word practice. It's my favorite because nobody gets it 100% right. But what do you do consciously so that you can leave work at work and you can be present at home? Because it sounds like you've been in that same position that I've experienced, where you're at work and you're pissed at yourself for everything that you missed at home. And then you're at home and you're pissed at yourself for all the things that you missed at work. And now you're nowhere for nobody all at the same time. And that sucks so bad. So how do you keep yourself out of falling into that trap?
It's not easy, but it's about trying the best you can to be present when you're sitting at the dinner table, when you're there. Really hard for me to listen, really hard. Like it just, okay. And it's I think when you're an entrepreneur, you're so, like, at least I am, I'm so all over the place. So many different things going on in my head. I'm going from thing to thing, thinking about things. Okay, I could do this. And you just have to work at slowing down and listening and paying attention. And when you're home, you're paying attention to what is happening there in the house the best you can. I say listening. I would say, like, what? That's a goal of yours? Because I'm not very good at it, but I'm hoping to get better.
Yeah. Okay. One of my favorite stories to tell. One of our clients, senior executive at his company, married for over a decade, teenage kid at home, and their favorite family tradition is pumpkin carving at Halloween time. And all the years that they've been married, he's never been present for that experience. Like he's been in the house,
right,
but not engaged.
Yeah.
And part of what we identified was he didn't have a transition routine, like so that he could literally disconnect from the job so that he could be fully present at home. And one of the exercises that we helped him with was when he gets home, he throws it in park, but before he leaves the vehicle, he moves through some breath work and repeats this mantra: work is done and I am home. And he goes through this exercise 10 times to down regulate and be present at home. And after a couple of months, now Halloween is upon us. And for the first time in the entirety of his marriage, he's present for that experience.
Yeah.
And like that's an experience money can't buy.
It is an experience.
You can't achieve your way into that experience.
And you go with, like, that's something you start, you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, I might as well enjoy it. Like, it's not even, like before I would do that, like, okay, you're sort of phoning it in, right? Like you're there doing the pumpkin carving, you're okay, this is so dumb, I'm doing, and like, I sort of changed that a couple of years, like, okay, I am here, this is what I'm doing, like, I'm not doing anything else, I'm here, so let me see if I can have fun doing this, because this is what I'm doing. Like, that has taken a lot of work too. It's the same, it's all effort, and it's fun to go through the process.
That's awesome, man. Dude, I really appreciate you taking the time, man, making yourself available to share your wisdom and your experience and your journey, man. I think what you got going on at One Thrive is admirable, it's impactful, and a worthwhile endeavor, man. So any which way that we can support you, please say the word. I'm looking forward to making that happen with you, brother.
I love that, and I appreciate your time, and I look forward. Hopefully, you're going to the summit in Austin, and we can get to meet in person. So, so that'll be great. And this is one of the reasons why I joined the Post, is to meet other people and network and see what's out there. So I appreciate you giving me the time.
Yeah.
Anybody in the audience who is interested in a One Thrive, please feel free to contact me, go through the website. Happy to help and talk to as many people out there as I can.
There you go. You're gonna impact a lot more people, man, as a result of this conversation. I'm looking forward to hearing about it, man. So I appreciate you.
All right.
For everybody out there listening, remember, if you want to be the fittest leader, check out the nextlevelvillage.com. And remember, to be the fittest leader, it requires integrity, ownership, and courage. Until next time, progress always.